heater at yours? I have a space heater so that I can under my desk at work so I can regulate. Sometimes a little bit, sometimes not at all.
Our office is a lot like here. We have the boiler system, so it's good, but it's sometimes unpredictable.
Yes. What's the matter with your chair?
I don't know, it won't go up. These chairs need to be cleaned. I guess none of them will.
You can try that one my backpack's on.
Huh?
Try that one where my backpack is. See if that's any better. Sit on that one. See if it works.
Where's your backpack?
Right there. Try that chair and see. Good morning.
Good morning.
I obviously am not done things right.
Trying to lift it up
Yeah.
or down? Do you want up or down?
Oh.
Did it go down on you?
I think I can live with it, I guess.
Cold room.
Look like we got snow in the mountain.
Yeah, a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
So much. Had an appointment this morning,
Uh-huh.
and I said, and I'm leaving out the door early this morning. Where's that? San Juan Clinic, right up there, you know? Next thing I know, I get like 5 missed calls. I call him and I go, what's the matter? You told me that appointment was in Bland. I go, no, I didn't. So I can hear a voice on him. He says, well, I wish my wife would have told me this in Monticello. I'm like, so he drives clear to Bland. He's so mad at me. So he's dick mopping in the car. I'm like, you'll be all right. Whatever it is.
Well, are we waiting for anybody else back?
Commissioner Harvey,
Okay.
but outside of that, nobody else, just us.
I guess this is every.
What are you doing? Shaky, shaky, shaky.
Is anybody? Are you guys waiting for anybody else?
No, it's just us.
How about you, attorney? Are you waiting for anybody else?
I'm
Okay.
not.
Okay, I guess we'll start. Good morning, everyone. Today, November 18, 2025 is 9:06. We'll commence with our work meeting, and we're going to call to order and welcome you here, and also we're going to have roll call.
Commissioner Mon here.
Commissioner Stubbs here. We have 2 agenda items, and we'll turn the time to Mac.
So this first agenda item is consideration and approval of the building inspector agreement. It's not really approval, it's more just a discussion today with Monticello City.
Yeah, was a question. Are we?
Sorry,
Okay.
no, you cannot approve in work session. This is just a, so
So then we need to
previously.
do we
when-
need to correct that in the agenda? So that's also.
Yeah, we can this is a continuation of the discussion that we had in commission meeting.
Okay.
Last commission meeting where Attorney Mon had mentioned that he wanted to have a work session discussion on the legal issues surrounding this agreement.
Is this on the regular agenda to be approved?
No,
No.
we can't approve in a work session.
No, I know, but in the regular session.
No.
No, because we don't know what we're gonna decide here, so.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Um,
How are you?
I guess we're gonna acknowledge Commissioner Harvey being present.
Okay. So with respect to this interlocal agreement with Monticello City, I sent you all out the issues. It's probably been a long time since you've read them. Basically, the code, I guess one of the questions that the initial question the commission needs to decide is if they want to combine, if they want to share the building inspector with Monticello City, or should Monticello City make a contract with its own building inspector. So that's, and then based upon that, I think we met last night. I think we've kind of got an idea of what we want to do, but initially the commission needs to decide if it wants to, the interlocal agreement that was drafted up, I think it had a lot of issues with it. One of the issues is USIP had told me that the way it was written, they would not approve it because it had some problems with some of that USIP wouldn't ensure some of the provisions.
Okay, do we have that in writing so we can see what?
Yes, I
Yusef
do.
said?
I
think
have
that's
an email.
important we read that.
It's, isn't that this right here, the compliance with the statute in that email you sent us?
Yes,
Item 3, where it says agreement refers to interlocal agreement, Utah code, the different requirements, and if the agreement creates interlocal entity, it must contain XYZ.
yes.
Is that what that is?
Well, that's what the statute is. If so,
Yes.
so basically what the statute provides is that the county, and I don't think we're doing this, it says if a municipality or county collects a fee, the municipality or county shall ensure that the construction project receives a prompt inspection. But if a county or municipality can't provide a building inspection within 3 business days after receiving a request and collecting the fee, the applicant may engage a third-party inspector from a list. And so we're required to keep a list of 3 different building inspectors. And right now, I don't think we have that list. So we need to, I mean, by statute, we're required to have at least 3. And so somebody, if they want a building inspection, then they come to the county or the city, and if the city can't or the county can't do it within 3 business days, then the applicant, if you will, can choose his own inspector. And so under 15A-1-105, a municipality or county must maintain a third-party inspection firm list. For counties of the 1st through 4th class, and we're a 4th class county, the list must include at least 3 firms. If an applicant engages a third-party firm because the municipality or county can't get to the inspection in time, the applicant must notify the government which firm it's hiring. The third-party inspector submits the report to the government, and the government pays the costs of the inspection. And this comes from Bart Kuntz. This is the language that Bart had quoted. It says, while building inspections may be a topic of an interlocal agreement, under Utah Code Section 1113-2112. A local government should take care if it chooses to enter into such an interlocal agreement with an adjacent jurisdiction using its own building inspector if its inspector could have otherwise separately and independently contracted for such work. So that's the provision right there. Is if Monticello City can enter into its own building contract, then the statute contemplates that that's the best way to do it. So that's the initial decision I think the commissioners need to decide.
Can I just make some comments before we are here trying to decide something that will be operating long time after we are gone. So I think what we need to do is trying to figure out how, and I don't know how to do this because we can read this, but it'd be nice if we can go back and forth between Monticello and us to see how they see it. And so, and you know, I value your expertise and things like that, but I think just because we deal with things that people decide a long time ago and we don't remember, I think we have to make it not how we feel at this time as a personal, how I feel personally is what is gonna ensure that long time after they're gone and we're gone is still something that can still work in this relationship they have been going for many, many years. It looks to me like we have been working with the city of Monticello. And so and I try for how we do this because we can read this and say, well, this is wrong, but we don't know how they feel. So if we can say, okay, this has a problem, this part of this document has a problem, you know what I'm saying? If we can look at piece by piece and maybe you can say this one has a problem according to your expertise as you're trying to counsel us. I see a problem, there's a problem here, and maybe they have a response from, I'm sure they have their lawyer and they have documents. And I don't know.
Well, I think that
way.
process has been undergone, and is still undergoing.
Yeah.
But you know, I look at whenever these things come up, I think the mindset needs to be what is in the best interests of the county. You know, certainly we want to work with Monticello City, but I think the attitude needs to be what is in the best interests of the county. That's what you are safeguarding basically as commissioners. So, boy, it's hot in here.
Did we not just have that?
God.
It was freezing.
You called it though.
It was freezing. It will, like we said, we can't regulate it. It goes from hot to cold to.
Yeah, I understand that. That's the best interest of the county. I just trying to figure out how we can go. And I know I picture a work meeting was called so that we can talk a little bit more and listen to both sides and see how we can make a workable situation. There's not that many, like you said, there's not many people that can go do inspection here in county. So to me, sharing, if we can share, is something that would be
Sure.
and obeying the law, not trying to, circumvent the law. It's just trying to figure out how we can.
Yeah, I think, like I said, we met yesterday. Monticello City had their attorney, Mac and I were both there.
Okay.
I think we've worked some things out where we can accomplish some things, but the commissioners first need to decide that basic question is, if they want to enter into either an interlocal agreement or a contract for services. The interlocal agreement, I think we decided that may not be the best vehicle to accomplish what we're trying to do. And so, depending on how the commission rolls, I think we can go through, as you were saying, bit by bit and revise either the interlocal
Okay, so
agreement or
some
contract.
what some of the suggestions that you lawyer?
So, am I good here? Do you need me closer to a mic for the recording?
That you can come. We can share. I mean, probably can
I'll
share.
come stand up here by Mitch too.
Yeah, no, you can.
So we discussed it quite in length about
Okay, and that's why we need to hear.
about this contract, and
Okay.
the conclusion that we all came up with is that a service agreement probably would serve this type of thing better. Now, no, this was an attempt to fix a problem that's existed since 1999. So I finally found the code where we actually adopted you guys as being our building inspectors. But part of this is we were given the interlocal agreement and said, hey, this is what we need to start off with. This is what some counties have used to create this kind of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But after reviewing how San Juan County is working and what's going on, a service agreement makes more sense. Now, that's hard because now we've got to negotiate a new agreement. It changes the wording, changes how we address things, because there's liability on both sides.
So how does a service agreement works?
It is essentially us coming to you and saying, we would like your building inspector to do the inspections for us, and we will pay you for that service.
Okay.
Where an interlocal agreement is us coming to an understanding, you allow us to use your building inspector, we allow this.
Okay.
It's kind of more of a shared back and forth. Kind of the
Okay.
example I always give is our snow plows.
Okay.
You guys plow our streets, we allow you access to we aid with the fire department and other things based on that agreement. It's actually a really long agreement, but that's the best example.
Okay.
It defines the liability a lot better, as well as kind of the scope of work behind the system. So as Mitch brought up, the fact that, you know, we have to have these backup building inspectors. Well, each of us already have those systems in place.
Okay.
But this kind of defines the role really for the building inspector as a building permit request comes into the city is the one that's responsible for following through in the governance of that building inspection. We are the ones that will do the building inspections itself, but then it always reverts back to the city. So at no point in time does the county ever take full control of it. It's really with the efforts from the city requesting the building inspection services, setting up the calendar appointments, things like that. It places the onus back to the city instead of the county taking over and being the main responsibility for it.
And this separates the liability.
The service agreement would allow us to, because ultimately the city, we have to reserve a certain, I'm going to call it a power or right.
Oversight.
Yeah, oversight on this that we have to maintain. So like, for example, when a building permit comes in, it comes to the Monticello city system. It's not connected to San Juan County. We receive it, Megan reviews it for approvals of all of zoning setbacks. Can you actually build this in this area?
Yeah,
Those
just land use, just general land use things. Whereas like whoever is the building inspector will review like the structural plans, like the engineering plans, and then also performs the building inspections on that. So one thing that I didn't quite understand yesterday, because like the contract originated from the county. What I learned yesterday is that it was just copied from Bluff. So when the county was doing Bluffs, the county did everything. The building permits came into the county system. The county collected the funding for that. The county issued the building permit, issued the certificate of occupancy. They did everything. Whereas right now, the city kind of joins. So that I understand how this contract or how this interlocal agreement wouldn't serve in the aspect, because Bluff's situation and Monticello City situation are different, and we don't want to relinquish that. Like, we have a ton of codes and stuff. Bluff is newly established, so they don't have a lot of the codes and stuff set in place where we do, and so it makes sense to have us do the land use part of it and handle all the paperwork and just kind of have somebody just do the inspections.
Well, and that's what, you know, I, as a commissioner, wanted to hear, because everybody is on board. Because and so look to me like you guys have done your work meeting before you get here, and just need to be put in a form that we can you all revise and all agree.
Well,
Yes.
once again, the question before we even get to all that is with the statutory presumption that if Monticello City can go out and hire its own building contractor, then that's the best way and they should do it that way.
Is that what you guys agreed last
So-
time? I mean,
Well, and so Monticello City has attempted to hire their own building inspector. I will leave it up to them so they can address you on their efforts. But again, that's the reason why I'm here. All this other stuff, we can work together and come up with a solution. But the county first needs to decide if they want Monticello City to go out and get its own building inspector
Or do a service agreement.
or do a service
Well,
agreement
I
to
thought you
continue
guys
what's
came
been
to-
going on.
Well, that's, I think what
So-
you're saying is that's our decision. That's why they didn't go forward with it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that. So,
Yes.
but now they're explaining this
Yeah.
a
so I'll
solution
let
where
them
everybody's
speak.
on board, our
We-
administrators on board. and
We
now-
all ended up in the exact same situation come January. None of us had a building inspector. We were trying to get this contract put in place ever since from when I worked here. It was a problem. When I went over there, I was like, okay, let's figure out this. Let's get it going. There's multiple conversations with Scott, with Mac, with Ben, with Kristen. There's unfortunately just been a lot of turnover, but we all ended up in the exact same situation come January where nobody had a building inspector. So we solicited contracts for service, and we also put out a part-time position for a building inspector. And we received 0 applicants in both aspects. That is why, and we did talk about this a couple months ago when we originally brought this back, is like we've tried and we can't get anybody. There's also a new state requirement that we have to have a building official, and the criteria for a building official, to our knowledge, there's only 2 in San Juan County who meet
Yeah.
that criteria.
That starts in January.
One of them cannot work for a government entity because they're in the URS system right now, or the
Yeah.
retirement.
Yes, it
system.
is.
There's the URS cool down period is what they
Yeah.
call it.
So, in turn, the only other person who has those credentials to make us legal with the state is employed by San Juan County. So, that's why we went this direction.
Yeah.
The other reason, just so you guys understand from our perspective, why this works better, we have maybe, it depends on the year, anywhere from 5 to 25 building requests a year. Those require, if there are 5 of them and it's a slow year, there might be 15, 20 inspections the whole time. And that's for a full 12 months. Where I don't know what your guys' load is, but I don't know if it's significant enough, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, where by allowing us to do a service agreement, you're getting more money to pay your individual that you have on staff to do the building inspections and plan reviews. Now, if you give them extra duties, I can't control that. But that's kind of also the thought process I think they had back in 1999 is because they're like, Monticello doesn't have this huge workload. And so I spoke a lot with Carbon County. I talked to both Price City and Carbon County. They've got similar agreements to what we're working towards. And I asked them, well, why do it? They're like, the way the county can have 2 or 3 building inspectors is by taking care of everybody. Carbon County takes care of Schofield all the way down to East Carbon. And they do all of the building inspections, and they've set it up that way to keep the revenue source coming in. So that's the other aspect I look at as well. I have to look at the numbers for the city, but I also want to be kind and understand your guys' numbers as well for what works for the county.
Commissioner Harden.
Madam Chairwoman, I believe we're in a work session right now, but I'd like to begin by saying thank you to our attorney for looking into this matter. He is fulfilling his role by making sure we're following statutory requirements, and I'm appreciative of that effort. I think we just heard Monticello City express that they have done their due diligence and trying to establish and find their own building inspector. To answer the attorney's question that he's asking to be answered, I would like to establish a service agreement with Monticello City, because as we heard, they've done their due diligence to search and identify their own and are unable to. We've always valued our relationship with Monticello City. I think this is an exercise in kind of tidying up and organizing our agreements. I think this is a good exercise. So we have a stronger, more clearer outline of roles and responsibilities that hopefully USEP can bless for us so that we can finally have this agreement together. I'm curious about the timelines. I know if we give this a green light, what is our timelines, and when are we expecting a new service agreement to come before this commission for final approval? That's my question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
On the timeline, correct me if I'm wrong from both everybody, but from what I understand, because we have to basically take what we've got, start from scratch with a service agreement with the service agreement languages in there to control that liability, it's probably going to take us a month to a month and a half to get that contract written and then kind of revised by everybody. Is my timeline too long or too short?
So December 2nd is our next commission meeting.
Mhm.
And so that gives us 2 weeks essentially. So your attorney last night, Jamie, had mentioned that he was going to get you the draft. They were going to take a template that they've done from another city. Does 2 weeks? Why a month for you guys?
My thought is if we get that draft, and then the negotiations between us, if they take longer before we bring it back to the commission, I'm thinking a month and a half before it comes back to commission to allow us time to review.
Okay.
Is my timeline a little?
If it's too long, if you get done before that, you can bring
We
it
could
sooner.
always add it.
I feel like the month and a half is appropriate, just given the fact that we all are,
If we get
that there's two
USIP's
parties
check
involved
off
on
on it.
the,
Yeah.
making sure that the language that we feel is necessary is
Yeah.
included in it. And so, not that it'll take a month and a half to have any sort of agreement, but just before we bring it back to
Okay.
commission for like a final.
So that after that, our next meeting is the 16th, and then we're into the 6th.
Commissioner
So
Man,
just kind of give you a timeline for us.
December 2nd, 16th, and January 6th, you say?
Correct. So that's the commission's meeting timelines.
Okay. And I'm roughly just thinking through, it'd probably be January when that would come back if we can get it, if we can't get it done sooner.
Okay.
And that all kind of depend on schedules and getting everything worked through, because we do have Thanksgiving coming up, and then
Mitch, does that schedule work for you?
Yes, I think if we can get it done sooner, we obviously can bring it before you guys sooner. I just want to make one other comment. I feel bad because I should have invited Corey Coleman. He really hasn't been involved, but I think he at least needs to be involved because he knows the nuts and bolts that Caden and I and Mac don't know. So I want to, involve him.
well, he can be
Moving
involved in
forward.
the process.
Yeah, he was involved with the first contract. We'll do the same thing, involve him in the second.
And I still have all of his notes
Correct.
from the first contract that,
And Commissioner Man has a comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I do want to thank both of you, both parties, for working together on this. I know it's been we thought we'd had this done 4 or 5 months ago. But I think in the long run, it's going to protect both parties and be a better thing. And sometimes I think we see agreements that have been there for so long without really examining and taking a look and saying, you know, just because they did it that way does not mean that's the way forward. So I do want to thank both of you for patiently working together. And hopefully we can move this forward. And then not only that, but that'll set us up so that we are both protected, you know, in the way it needs to be to follow the statute. And so I was just going to comment on the timeline. So I guess if there's anything that we need to be aware of in the process, so that would you bring that to us before, even though we don't have to decide on it? Because then we're not the last meeting that we need to decide and we go, oh wait, all these red flags on this contract. So as long as we kind of have an eye on it as we go ahead, I would appreciate that.
And I do have like a clarifying question because
Sure.
when we did this interlocal, I was under one impression, and then I was led to believe that you guys felt differently about it yesterday. So, in this current interlocal agreement, it says that we would pay you guys in like installments every 6 months of just a set rate. So, regardless of the amount, like it says, it's a attachment A.
Oh yeah.
So it says
the
like,
complicated one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it says
Your
like
example.
if our inspections increase over this, we will pay upwards of that. But if they fall within this range, regardless if it's the low end of this range or the high end, like if there's a flat rate. I was led to believe yesterday that you guys may want it just like billed by building permit. So I
Was that brought up?
No, not by me.
No, I think we should just do it. I think a fee is just easier.
okay, that's how I felt.
set
Set
fee.
rate is because previously
Administrative.
without
Yeah.
because I knew that the county wasn't getting paid when I worked at the county by the city, and then when I went over to the city, I'm like, okay, let's just start paying these services are being done. But I would go by every single building permit.
I say
and
we do
figure
what's
it,
easiest.
and I'm like, I would much rather like if you guys want to do it that way, that's fine. But then I would expect like that we receive an invoice from the county because I just stepped into that because I recognized there was a wrong there.
I like your attachment.
So I'm like, let's just do a set fee.
Absolutely, and that's
Make
easier to
everybody's life
administer.
easier.
Well, and it takes and pushes the pressure on us to make sure they're continuing education, things like that,
Yeah.
staying certified, which is on us, not you guys.
Yeah.
And so, no, I'll keep it how we're doing.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to clarify.
Once again, I think Corey Coleman needs to have a little bit of involvement in the, because
You can
again,
just bring him in, right?
Is
When you guys
you
meet?
guys can
yeah,
be
but I'm
brought
just
in.
saying
Yeah.
that he's the one that knows the nuts and bolts,
Yeah.
and so
I just want to. When I first started the meeting, Commissioner Harvey missed a part that I talked in the beginning. I just want to say how good this feels because everybody was included. Everybody has the same answer, and we'll work together. And this is how it should be. And so I thank Attorney Mon for working on this and fulfilling that role he has. He can work with Corey. He can work and working with Mac, working with everybody. It makes it easier for us to be able to clearly make a decision because sometimes these come before us. And that was my concern this morning. I thought, okay, are we making decision for right now or decision that when we are gone, it still works? And I like how this meeting turned out. And I just thank everybody for we need to work as a team, and I think we can accomplish great things this way. And so thank you so much. And you can make Corey part of whatever you need to ask him. Because not all of us have the same answers. You know, if we can come together and we can create the best scenario. Thank you so much.
mhm.
And one other thing I just
Yeah.
like to put out there so we're all on the same page. We're currently under what we felt like was this agreement, but we're switching to a new one. Monticello City would like to continue as if we're functioning
Oh, yeah.
while we negotiate the new
Yeah.
contract, unless you guys have any
No.
problems with that.
We okay.
You good with that as well? Okay. I just wanted to put that out there so we
Yeah.
all were understanding that we'll still function as if we're functioning under this and while we work through the new contract.
We don't want a screeching halt.
I don't either. That's the thing. I'm like, I
That's what
want
we
to just
don't
keep
want.
it going.
Yeah,
No.
it's hard, 'cause
So-
that's kind of what we went through in January, and I think I have like some PTSD about it.
Sure.
It's so stressful.
Okay.
Anyway, but
Okay, the next item on your agenda is discussion of combining Justice Court with San Juan County and Monticello City. This one again is Mitch.
Okay, this is kind of similar to the last one.
I know.
Is right now, as you know, we have a San Juan County Justice Court and a Monticello City Justice Court. Now, Monticello City has an agreement with the county sheriff's office where the sheriff's office patrols and takes care of the criminal matters in Monticello City, and those matters would go before Judge Hazelton in the Monticello City Justice Court. For anything that happened outside of Monticello City and outside of Blanding City, obviously in the county, would go before the San Juan County Justice Court. The way it's been working right now is Gents has been handling all of the San Juan County matters. So he is involved in the prosecution of the San Juan County, of all matters in the San Juan County Justice Court. Right now, Monticello City has its own justice court, and they have a contract with me to be the prosecutor. And they pay me independently of my county salary. So Monticello City, I think, has approached us and wants to basically combine the two courts so we only have one court. So I think it would be called the San Juan County Justice Court. Basically, the Monticello City Justice Court would merge into the San Juan County Justice Court. So then you'd only have one prosecutor and one judge for all of San Juan County and Monticello City. So what the county needs to decide is if it's in the best interest of the county to maintain the status quo, to keep the two courts separate and function the way they have been, or to consolidate or merge the Monticello City and the San Juan County Justice Court. Monticello City, and I'll again let them speak to this, but they want to do away with the Monticello City Justice Court, merge it into the San Juan County Justice Court. If that happens, then some details would need to be worked out with respect, and what that means is we would share, would have to share resources and duties and responsibilities and expenses. So that would be an extra burden on my department, the attorney's office, because it would then be responsible for everything that Monticello City has been doing through the Monticello City Justice Court, which would, right now, the contract for the Monticello City Justice Court calls for 12 hours, and the pay is at $125 an hour. So the added burden to the county would be all of those cases that heretofore were handled by the Monticello City Justice Court would have to be handled by the San Juan County Attorney's Office. That includes equipment, that includes extra duties for the secretary, and that includes extra duties for Gents and myself. But those basically would have to come to an agreement depending on how the commission rules. to work out those shared responsibilities, shared duties, shared expenses, and allocate those expenses.
Can I ask a question? When we had trials and do things, do we get compensated for each of the cases? Is funds being generated by the
Funds
court?
are mostly generated by speeding tickets and fines.
Okay, but as far as, so there's no income coming, the more trials you have, that we can. Well, I'm trying to figure out what does a county generate in a combined court? Because is Monticello generating funds in their court?
Yes, I think, and I'll
So-
let
so-
Caden speak to that, but
Okay,
they
so-
generate, they net about $125,000 a year, is that right?
Roughly.
right.
So
Okay, so it's not like, okay, I just want to see if there'll be compensation if we come together. So anyway, sorry, I just trying
Yeah,
to,
so I think as long as the commission understands that we will need to come back once we have all of the allocation of costs and revenues figured out, we'll have to come back before you. But initially, again, the commission needs to decide what is in the best interest of San Juan County. Is it in the best interest of the county to make Monticello City have its own justice court, have its own personnel, its own judge, its own prosecutor, the way that they have been? Or does the county feel like it would be in their best interest to combine the Monticello City Justice Court and merge it into the San Juan County Justice Court? And before I see you, I will let Caden. He has a lot to offer on
yeah,
this.
let's
so
kind
I'll
of
turn it over
listen
him.
to the others. We'll just listen to it.
So you guys understand kind of the options before you. We have
Yeah.
the three. Monticello City's preference is to go ahead and combine our justice courts. You can think of it as a combined but we also reserve our justice court. So if in the future it needs to be reactivated, it can. It doesn't shut down Monticello. It just kind of puts it to sleep for the next 20, 30 years, and then it can be reactivated at any time. That's the way it was described to me. That is currently Monticello City's stance and preference. If we could do that with San Juan County, we think it would make sense. Right now, when they need Monticello Justice Court, they call San Juan County number, and they talk to a clerk that works for both and have to shuffle out what entity they're part of. Essentially, our thought was, let's streamline it. So they call San Juan County Justice Court, and it's San Juan County Justice Court for Monticello and for San Juan County. But ultimately, Mitch is correct. I've done the numbers quite a bit. It depends on the years you select, but we average from anywhere from $100,000 to $125,000 net income. Now that's us paying for the judge, paying for our prosecutor, our defenders, all the expenses that come with the justice court. That's after we make those payments. That is our net revenue that we're bringing in. Part of the discussion is going to be, how do we handle that money? What do we want to do with it? Do we just forfeit that to the county? Do we do a little bit more agreements with, say, our sheriff's contract or other contracts we have with the county when it comes for those type of services? But we mainly need to know, as we write this contract, are you guys interested in this? Like Mitch was saying, if you guys are interested in doing a combination, then we need to start looking at other options for Monticello. But at the same time, we've got draft contracts that have been written all over the state for this type of thing. Once again, probably a month and a half to come up with a contract based on what direction we want to go.
Okay.
Some of the things administratively behind the scenes is you've already contracted with Judge Hazelton in the past.
Correct.
To be your judge, right? And so now we're looking at replacing Judge Hazelton. He is also, with his staff, handled the caseload, the clerks over there who handled Monticello's caseloads in the past already. So it won't be a new thing for their office on the judge side of it. Administratively, if Monticello City gives raises, Judge Hazelton would approach me and say, hey, Mac, Monticello City gave raises, so our clerks need the raises because we're tied to Monticello City. This kind of helps clean up that as well. What I like about the combination is the public interface is critical because we will get calls that come into our main line like, hey, I'm looking to pay this fine, and then it's the discussion, okay, is it a San Juan County or is it a Monticello City? Because there's two different routes to that. And so I think on the public interface side of it, it makes a lot more sense to combine it. We have been in conversations with the state through this process as well. You know, one of the things that the state pointed out, just due to the caseload itself, you know, is it justifiable for each individual entity to have a separate, you know, where the caseload is small, like, you know, combining makes more sense. And so the state has been also involved in this process all along the way of selecting Judge Hazelton's replacement.
And I believe on the last paperwork I got, we're like 20% of Judge Hazelton's workload. Because the state informs us what our split is between the county and the city, because we currently share him. And I think we're about 20% last time I looked. 20 to 30, it depends on the year.
I think that calculation got brought up before, and that doesn't sound anywhere close to me. And I think Jim, whatever his name, indicated that the data was probably not up to date.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the caseloads, and I'll go back and look. But I think Monticello City's caseload is 75% or 80% of San Juan County's.
Really?
But I don't know. I'll have to figure that out.
I have a question. So the total amount that your court makes, because you're telling us the figure after you pay the bills, so what is the gross, the total amount that you
That's right around the 100,000.
Okay, that's it.
Talking about prior
Oh,
to paying
prior?
Yeah, you have that figure?
I'll pull out a year and you can correct me. We make about 225,000 on average over the last 10
So
years.
those figures would come to the county, so that could cover the extra cost of the court here, which affects San Juan County. So that answers my question. Commissioner Harvey, you had a question before. Do you want to ask now? He has a question, and then you can come.
I'm gonna share a couple of thoughts, if it's appropriate. First of all, the county has a committee. They call themselves the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, and there's this jerk of a chair that leads that group.
I've heard that.
And I'm wondering if this is within that committee purview, just throwing that out there. But I know the details are very specific. And I'm kind of looking at this as a really good opportunity to bring down the state administrator, because I know with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, the biggest piece for the group is, where is the data? Where is the representation? And if and somehow these deliberations can bring an outcome of a couple of things, I'm just going to highlight. It would be wonderful. Number one is that we have data for our county, because that data is the only way Criminal Justice Coordinating Council can be effective in meeting the needs of the citizens in our county. Right now, we're kind of blindfolded because we don't know what the crime rates are, what the cases are that are entertained in our courts. And sometimes we'll get to see the judge, but he's very tied into his work. And we try to bring one of his representatives, his designee, to be in our meetings. So if the outcome can become that we have data that's transparent, that's available to the committee, to the public, and it's clear, that would be just the utmost accomplishment. The second piece is Criminal Justice Coordinating Council have been talking about priorities. And in that discussion, we've been throwing around the idea of a facility. What is it called? Commissioner Mon knows.
A receiving center.
The receiving center, thank you. Where it's actually responding to some of the substance abuse issues and giving adults more of a dignity to work through those addictions with more of a not taking away their livelihoods, but bringing in support so they're successful in rehabilitating and coming back to the community as a productive citizen. I think if those two pieces can be an outcome for this in our county, that would be really just precedent. My question that I wanted to ask was, what agreement options are there? What can we put on the table? 5-year, 10-year, a pilot? What are those options, I guess?
Yeah, well, those options could be anything the commission feels would be appropriate. If the commission wanted to do a pilot program and say, a year, 18 months, 2 years, or 5 years, I mean, that's totally up to you. I don't know that you have to make that decision right now. I think once we get some of these materials to you and we're farther along in the process, you can maybe would have better information for you to decide that the term. I think Monticello City would say, well, it would take us approximately, 6 months, a long time, to have to, if all of a sudden the pilot program didn't work, for them to go out and hire their own judge and make the transition back to Monticello City would probably require 6 months to maybe even a year if we combine them and then we figure out it's not working and they have to go and make arrangements to start up the Monticello City Justice Court. But yes, I will make it a point of emphasis to try and get you. So you're talking about just all of the data in the justice courts and in the district court on the different types of crimes. We had so many rapes last year. We had so many murders. We had so many speeding tickets. I assume you would also want, if we can establish that, is if they're Native American, if they're, I will, number one, I think I will see what I can do. Number two, I need to investigate what the state requirements are, because I would say there's probably a good chance we're probably not following what we should be following, because I think we're probably required to keep at least some information, related to that, and to bring us into compliance with that moving forward. So I will make that a point of emphasis.
Commissioner Mann, do you have?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. So a couple of things I want to ask or highlight on is so I know Commissioner Harvey is speaking about the outcomes and the data. So a couple of things that we have here is that Judge Hazelton retires at the end of the year. So I feel a little bit like we need to kind of move in a direction. And I don't know how quickly we can get the data, but with the merge, I guess there's a couple ideas I want to throw out there. One is that I agree with him in being data driven and possibly having that wording in the contract that it can be, this is provisional until XYZ, or, can be rescinded. Mm-hmm. So I agree with that. The other thing is with the amount of money coming in, I think, of course, we have to look at salaries, compensation, because you're taking on extra duties. So that, of course, but if we're bringing in $225,000, the idea I want to throw out there is that if we can achieve the compensation piece, I really feel like maybe the caveat could be that we take the extra funds. Let's say we have that 100 to 125,000. If we took anywhere between 75 and 100,000 a year, and specifically earmark that and set it aside, so when we get those data points, then we know the direction that we need to change. But the thing I like about the merger is that we're going to have one source of data, not two different sources of data. So we take the money, we earmark it, it goes into a fund that is not touched, and then that's where we start building the funds for the receiving center or the needs based on the data. But I kind of feel like, and you can weigh back in on this, but I kind of feel like if this merger, it's got to be something that we feel it's important enough to do something with on the outside as well. I don't know that we'll have all the data prior to agreeing to do the merger, but maybe that's the direction we want to agree, is maybe to merge with the contract and head in that direction with those points in mind. So I don't know how you two feel about that.
I strongly agree with that.
Well,
and I do too.
I think you
I
might
j-
have.
Can I
Well,
just want
response
to
to that.
add to what was said here. I also agree about the receiving center. About 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to Davis County, and I saw what they do there, and it has been a desire to also do a receiving center in San Juan County, and I think that is a good idea, and it's a good idea to have that as a goal. We don't know who's going to be here, in a year or two, but so I think that it's a good goal to have. And as part, I know that the changes we're making, it couldn't just be 2 or 3 years. It had to be a contract, like he talked about, 30 years, and then we could, with the ability to rescind. And so maybe people that come after them or people that come after us, they say, we don't like that, we want to change. But I think it needs a time period to be able to allow for things to work. So do you have something you want to add
I'm not
to it?
sure. I need to clarify or make. So the 125,000, that's the net earnings that Monticello City has achieved. And so I think by merging, they're still wanting to receive, a lot of compensation for the revenues generated by speeding tickets and so forth. So I'm not sure I understand. You're saying you want to take that 125,000 and put it into a fund and not touch it. So that technically, I mean, would be Monticello's city.
But we're absorbing all the costs now.
Yes.
So
yeah.
so it really isn't. I mean, if we're absorbing all the costs, it's county money at that point.
Yes, as long as
So-
you understand that, and
But all the costs, compensation, salaries are met to that degree of taking on the workload, and then that margin there is what is set aside for, because like he said, if we see the data and we have a big increase in XYZ, maybe that requires an education piece, or maybe that requires, like we said, this receiving center is something we've all looked at and been involved with, but that money can be earmarked for those specific things that those data points that he's talking about can reflect. So does that make is that a little more clear?
You have some questions or?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I wonder if we,
I was
do
just.
you mind if we wait for Commissioner Harvey or
Yeah, he
That's
got
what I
a
was
phone
gonna
call.
say.
He
Yeah.
got
Because
got a-
he'll have you repeat it.
I'm not in just fine. I totally understand.
Yeah. Stretch.
Yeah,
little
stretch. You
stretch
guys put
the-
this all in one meeting. Thank you.
You don't need to come over 800 times, right?
No, it's good.
We had lots of meetings lately. Anything on the playground? Is anything on the playground?
Oh,
We're no contractors yet.
Okay,
It
I
looks
can
like.
give you an update on it, yeah.
okay.
Your stuff's sitting there, right? I've,
So-
I've seen. I'm like, I think that's what that is.
You know somebody who does cement work?
Well, I had
Is it
I had to. Well, I was talking about. I was just thinking about the old playground, but I do have two son-in-laws that do cement work. The problem is that right now for Monticello it's probably a little bit too cold, and you have to baby it so much. I can pass a word and ask them if they're interested.
And what about? Have you looked at Tony Chavera as well?
Yeah, I've sent him all of this
Because yeah, Sonderger's will deliver it. Then and Trent. What about Trent on the side? Sonderger.
Oh, I'm not sure. I've reached out to like Sandra and tried her small ones. They're all like we are up to here.
With cement work.
Dang it.
Anyway,
I know it's hard.
yeah,
We're hoping.
yeah.
We've opened and closed that like what 4 or 5 times now.
Is it open?
We're on 3 or 4.
Is it open now? Not yet.
The park is still
Yeah.
usable. We're not gonna remove anything to make it unusable until we have like a contract put in place. to
Yeah,
use the playground.
That yeah. Anyway, I can
Can they do it in
give
the
you some
spring?
fun.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what we're thinking.
Oh.
If
have
we
a
get
target
too
and
close to
date,
snow.
like-
Yeah.
We have a target end
But
date
then the
in
problem
April.
is, you'll get in the spring, and the day they're coming, it's gonna snow. I mean, about
If
April.
we do that 5 times and we get a good amount of snow out of it, I'm okay.
Yeah, there you go.
It is yeah, you guys have that cold because they can put blankets. The problem is trying to baby it while it's drying because if you have deer around there and they go and walk on the thing, then it's ruined. So you have to really be watching it. So
I went down to Landing last night and it was like 28 degrees when I left here and it was like 42 over there.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
Why is it so much nicer in Landing?
yeah. So it can be done when it comes to cement, but I know they've been busy pouring cement. One thing about the blending people, everybody does cement. They work together. They help each other, and then they can
Get it done at a reasonable
do it quick. But anyway,
They're cemented together.
they cement together. Well, it helps because that way you have a crew, you know.
We've had a couple of people who are like, yeah, the spring will probably ease up for us because we really wanted it in, this year, but that's not gonna happen. So I'm fine with the spring.
Yeah.
Start out the new year.
That's what I thought was good when he says you guys do it in the springtime. But anyway,
That'll be exciting. That'll be fun. Fun for the kids.
My favorite is the playground they put down at Hall's Crossing with a cloth covering. I'm like, who plays at the playground at 105 degrees
Exactly.
at Hall's Crossing? That is the biggest waste of money. Especially when there's so many
Probably
things
gets
to
so
need
hot.
done. It's, yeah, I haven't seen one child there in the times I go. Not one.
Yeah, they don't get those 3rd-degree burns. I went to a certification class and they're like, it's so important if your weather gets this hot that you have some sort of shade covering or in the trees. And they showed pictures of like toddlers getting like 3rd-degree burns.
Serious?
oh yeah,
It was not.
That was normal when I grew up. With that.
Because we had metal
With that
slides.
Metal slide.
Metal
That was like-
slides.
that was exactly. Yep.
Metal slides.
Yeah, we never get that hot here for it to.
No. No.
Yeah.
It fried your hind end and
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Commissioner Harvey knows we're waiting for him, or is he in the
whatever
phone?
you want to do.
is he out in the hall?
Yeah, I think it's right out there.
Like
I
he
don't-
went
I
towards
don't
your
see-
office. He went inside your office, Mark.
Oh, okay.
You might need to make a motion to recess.
Well, we're at work session. It was just kind of gathering the commission's ideas, a good direction to head into, and then we'll start down that direction and
Anyway, so
work on the agreement.
do you wanna, should I go, Matt, do you wanna talk to him and see if he's in a meeting? Or? Thank
Or
you.
if he wants us to wait, I guess. Yeah.
Well, because then we had to do
Yeah.
it twice.
I know. You're right. You do. You have to do it twice. I don't have a problem waiting for a minute.
Sounds like he's in another one.
Or something. Okay, so I guess we'll go and we'll proceed, I guess. Is that okay if we just proceed then? Thank you.
Good with that, if you guys are. So just a few things from the city standpoint on this type of agreement. The biggest thing I would push for is no less than 5 years, even if we say it's a 5-year pilot. The problem we've got is it takes 6 months to replace a judge, and then we've got to reactivate the whole justice court. If we did that in like 18 months or even 6 months, that's not enough time for me to turn everything around and basically turn the justice court back on. Get the lights back on. It'd take too long to do that. So my request would be at least 5 years if we decide to pilot this. The other request is we recognize that we are giving up a revenue source to the county. We would like to see that come back to the city in a good way. I know a receiving center is definitely something that's needed here. I'm not denying that. I think I was in a few meetings. I can't remember who I was with. Maybe it was Commissioner Adams, but to discuss a receiving center and look at that. I think that's wonderful. But I feel like we do need to see something coming back to the city in this case, because we are giving up the revenue source, but we'd also give it up to make sure that the county gets an advantage, but the city also does receive an advantage as well. So that would be the something to consider while looking at this agreement.
And I think that probably a receiving center in Marcelo would be ideal because it's halfway. We had the old hospital. That probably be, I don't know. I just think the possibilities of a place to have it. And I don't think a receiving center would be like the other ones, and like in Davis County, they're 24 hours.
Right.
I think ours would be probably on a call basis. We bring in somebody, and if it's somebody already working at the hospital, because they had to have a full-time nurse, and they had to have full-time counselor there. And so I don't know, it can be a possibility that can be done in the old hospital. We don't know what's going to happen with a building, but you know.
Well, okay, so I have a question. If and I don't want this to sound rude. because I'm
You're
trying to be
good
really-
because these are negotiations. So
Okay.
Yeah.
go for it.
So when I read this line here, the merge the courts and their interlocal that outlines shared responsibilities, costs, and revenues. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, are we really sharing the costs, the responsibilities, but yet we want to share the revenue because we're taking everything on as a county.
So
So tell me where that share comes in for me to say, yeah, I can see some of the revenue coming back. That's where I'm struggling.
So the reason that was written the way it was is I didn't know what we were going to decide
Okay.
to do with the money. So originally this came from Iron County and Parowan.
Okay.
They entered into a similar agreement, but Parowan said so much of the money comes back to us. They put a percentage on it and Iron County agreed to that. I didn't know what we were going to do, so I left that kind of as an open clause that would show we're going to share it if we choose to. We don't have to. Like, there's options when it comes to the money. So that's why I left the phrasing really open and stamped draft all over it, because I knew we would come to kind of an agreement as we worked through it.
Okay, so what percentage are you looking at? Because I don't feel the 125 between the 100 and 125
Mhm.
justifies us taking everything on. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay.
Now, the one thing that I also recognize and Mitch also recognizes is you guys are pulling on more costs. But you're also, some of the costs that are in here are things that you don't have to pay for. Like, I'm pulling from my court system altogether. I also pay all the city attorneys from that court system. Everything extra expenses, those are included in my numbers. So you wouldn't, essentially what I'm saying is you wouldn't have this great of expense as what I've experienced because we're paying for extra things where you already have those set up in their own accounts. But essentially,
The easier thing would be to focus on the gross and not the gross income and not the net.
So if we figured out a gross and we did a
Yes.
percentage,
Mhm.
maybe we did a percentage, not an amount.
we could do
I mean,
that.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't need to know that number today. What I would maybe recommend is coming back with some things we can work with.
So I will
Does
pull
that
the
work?
numbers from 2023. I've got them right here, actually.
Okay.
I printed everything ahead of time just in case because I didn't know
Because you knew I'd
what
ask that question.
questions were going to happen.
Okay.
You won't meet somebody who's better prepared for meetings. He's like, I might not need this one, but I'm gonna print it anyway because.
So in the year 2023, now this is our financial year, so this is saying June 30th. We brought in $286,000.
Okay.
So if we played with percentages, we'll just take Parawans for example. It was 25%. That means 71,000 would come back to the city. The remaining would stay with the county to help cover costs and go into their coffers. That's kind of how Parawan set it up. We can do something very similar. We can change that value.
What is that percent?
That was 25%.
25%. Okay. So I guess what I'm thinking is when as we move forward and work together,
Mhm.
that we have some proposals that we can look at.
And that's
Does that
kind of,
work?
yes, and that's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Yes, yes.
Because then you would
I
have to
think-
figure out your compensation, Kelly's compensation.
Right, and
that.
obviously, it,
And
for example.
I did write that down from yesterday.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we'll come back with you with figures, but, for example, figures may be fluid because obviously would have to, I don't know what the new judge, what we're gonna pay him. I think the salary
Sure.
range is what, 50 to 70,000?
It's a lot higher. It's state mandated.
I was going to say, hasn't the last couple of years been state mandated,
It is,
mandated
yep.
too?
Yeah.
So we-
Standard,
So if you could
standard
get that
pay.
figure and we could put that
Yeah.
in as well.
I thought it,
We could look at Judge Hazelton's
Oh,
letter you got.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so anyway, but yes, I think that's definitely smartest for, if you guys feel like you want to, share, if you want option two, and you don't have to decide that now, but I think we can get you different options and
I
get
don't know
the,
how Commissioner Stubbs feels, but I personally I would I like this merger idea. I would like if that's the direction, then kind of focusing
Okay.
on that for myself. If that's the
Yeah,
direction we go,
well,
I don't know how she
I
feels.
feel this is a good idea. Even if we give money back to them and they put it in Monticello, it's still helping the county. Any improvement in any
Yeah.
area.
Well, and
It's
we
helping
work
us.
on that number to make sure it's
Yeah.
beneficial for both.
And so
Sure.
I kind of
Because then
like
we
that
can-
because there's money for compensation because there are people losing
Mhm.
some
Okay. Yeah.
and acquire more work, and so
Okay.
I like this, and I think if you guys keep working together as a team and come back with something that I like this when it's clean cut and we can make a
Okay.
decision and
Well, and just one last, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, one last thing, is again, the timetable. I think we could set this, there is, a little bit of a need for this, a rush for this because, we've got to hopefully have it done by January 1st. But-
I would think you would rush on that, and then just as you go along, confirm with Commissioner Harvey on his data points, but get supply that,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
you can at the time.
And-
Supply as much data as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't think things here should delay what we're trying to do.
Right.
No,
This
yeah.
would be
Right.
something
Okay.
that we can keep in
Well,
mind how we can cooperate.
And we can
Right.
run some of them side
Yeah.
by side.
Okay.
So what I'll do then is I will start generating the number side from the city side of things. I'll do kind of a 10-year look at history on what it's been, along with a 10-year history of the cases that have come in those 10 years. I'll see if I can pull those numbers
And I'll do the same for the Justice Court.
for the county side.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you'll pull county, I'll pull city, and then we'll bring you guys some data.
Thank
Okay,
you.
like it.
Wow, win-win today.
And that was never a rude question. That was awesome. Because
I just was trying to compute in my head correctly, but I
even
that's
if
it.
you could have asked it anyway, and I'm like,
Okay.
this is the whole point we're here because I'm not thinking the same. So
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
Kagan.
you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Megan.
Megan. Thank you, guys. Thanks,
Let's
Mitch.
see.
Do you need me for anything else?
We're just in departments.
Could we,
Interview?
if you wanted to end, Mitch has a budget he'd like to present, and then he could go to work.
Okay.
But I've got to go back and
Get your budget.
get my budget. Sorry.
Okay, you'll come back then.
Sorry.
Come back your assigned time.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
very good.
all right. I'll probably send gents to the commission meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay. So thank you.
Need a motion to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Okay.
Wow, that was quick.
Okay, I'll go make some phone calls.